What a treat today. I'm here with Jack Selman, a noted architect and the architect for two of my fabulous listings. Jack,
Yes.
can you tell me a little bit about the first home that you built for, eventually, for Chuck Norris?
Yeah. It was quite a while ago. I've built several homes for myself. I've actually built 4 homes. And that one is the first one I built for myself. And it was, I was up in I wanted a site secluded in the foothills. And I looked over that site and went to the guy who wasn't for sale and asked him if he'd sell it. He sold me a piece. I liked the fact that it was low down a hill and it had a natural drainage course. And I wanted to build a lake as part of the house. So that was a natural setting I could do that. I was influenced heavily at the time. I had bought this office building, which you can see is old, 1920s brick building. And I'm in downtown Orange. All the buildings in downtown Orange at that time were the old brick buildings. I was really into that. So I went to a trip to San Francisco, looked at Ghirardelli Square and the buildings up there that are brick. And I was kind of intrigued with that idea. So I did the brick house, and I tried to do the brick house. I personally went up to Seattle, Washington, and went to a mill and picked out cedar logs, had them milled, resawn logs, so the house was brick and cedar logs, wood, which was reminiscent of what was going on at that time in San Francisco or that era. So then I decided I wanted to kind of juxtaposition some very contemporary forms, such as the glass atrium in the window, and then the highlight was putting the old Victorian door, which I bought in Atlanta at an antique shop, shipped it out and built that into that doorway, the floating doorway, kind of the prominent thing in the house. If you look closely at the house, you'll even see every 5th brick is turned on edge. That's how they were built in those days. I tumbled all those bricks by hand. I didn't personally, but I had some laborers tumble every brick by hand and then put them up and sandblasted to try and recreate, essentially it's how they were here, this look. This was all sandblasted. This is an original brick, but I tried to make it look like that. And there were some old brick buildings at the time that were being rehabbed where they were sandblasting the brick walls, and we got that look. I really like that. The white mortar is used, which you can tell the color of the mortar. And the focus of the house was to look down on what would be a lake, which I built at the end of the construction of the house.
I have paddled on that lake.
Oh, really?
In the little
Yeah.
paddle boat.
Yeah, I had a
Have you
little
seen
dock.
that?
I had a dock. I built the water. It's a self-sustaining lake. Did some research and built the waterfall, which then it's got under the dock. There's a pump which pumps water into and up those rocks and becomes a very natural. There's a filter a natural filter in the like 5 foot by 10 foot of rock up that the water comes through. It cleans itself and it goes back into the lake. So it's now, in fact, when I had catfish and bluegill and I didn't put any bullfrogs in it, but they showed up.
Well, now it's all koi, you know
yeah.
that, right?
Yeah, I did know that. I actually added some koi. And then the original upper pond was a swimming pond, which I know has kind of been refreshed today. When I sold it,
I believe it's saltwater now.
yeah.
Yes.
And when I sold the house to Chuck Norris about, I think 8 years after I built it, or 7 years, he hired me to design the little gym, what was a gym for him up above the pond in that little flat area.
We call it the dojo studio.
The dojo studio. Well, anyway.
Right. That's what we call it.
I wasn't there when I was there, so I designed that and built that for him at the time that he was there.
Well, I've been told by all the neighbors that come through the open houses there that you actually build the homes, live in them for a while, and raise your family there, and then once you sell, you
Yeah.
do the same thing again.
That's
Is that
right.
true?
So I've done that 4 times so far. And I think I'm in my last now, which is not on the market. It may not be till I die.
I know a good realtor.
Well, when I die, I'll have my kids call you.
Oh, good.
Anyway.
Put me in your will. You know I am in some people's will. True story.
In fact, the newest house I'm in is a completely different concept as well. Because every time I do a house, there's something that's fresh in my mind that I want to create, and so that's what I do.
Is it Polynesian by any stretch of the
Actually,
imagination?
we won't spend too much time on this, but when my wife and I were at the Four Seasons in Hawaii and the Four Seasons in Mexico, she said, "Why can't our house be like the Four Seasons?"
Oh.
So that's what it's like.
Well, I've heard about it, but I haven't seen that. But maybe you can talk a little bit about Holly Tree, because
Yeah.
I believe after the Lemon Heights property where Chuck Norris lived, you moved on to the Holly Tree property.
Right.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Well,
So
that's a
the-
great look as well.
Yeah, and that's very different than the Holly Tree house. So at that point in time that was probably 8 years later, perhaps. Actually, I bought a smaller condo in the meantime because I didn't want to have two big houses that I was paying for, and put the Holly Tree house up for sale. Chuck Norris bought it, and then I lived in a little condo while I was building the new house. At that point in time, I was enamored with some of these homes, very contemporary homes, particularly one in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Stepped down the side of the hill, each level of the hill that it stepped down, actually that one was about 6 levels, all had views out to the ocean. Of course, I don't have a view of the ocean, but they all view that beautiful area of Irvine that was the Irvine Ranch Park, and it focuses on the Saddleback Park there, which will always be there. You know, no matter what they did, my idea was, what if they just tear all that down and build houses there? That wouldn't be what I wanted to look at, but this is, I can't remember how many acres the park is there, the natural park, but there's a big hillside there that it focuses on that will always be there.
We can see hikers from that fabulous view, and I'm always putting
Yeah.
them out. Look, there's
Yeah.
hikers over there. So yes, it's not only a beautiful canyon and landscape and tree and hillside view, but you can also see
Yeah,
hikers
and
enjoying
I also hiked and biked over there and still do. My other house is still up in those Lemon Heights areas, my newest house, and so I still go to that park and bike and hike. It's great.
it. So how many years did you live in the Holly Tree home before you sold it?
I think it was eight or 9, and then I built that one, lived in that for 8 or 9. So maybe 7 on the last one, but at any rate, the other one, so it was a very contemporary house that stepped down the hill, but the interior is particularly unique because I was also enamored with these,
Whenever I'm looking out at the view from Holly Tree, I even can see hikers in the far distance in that beautiful landscape and those beautiful trails and the beautiful hillsides.
yeah, that was part of the idea of the house, was to always be looking at something that would always be there. So that's a 20,000 acre dedicated parkland or something like that, so that it can never be destroyed. And at the time I was building the house, as well as today, I still hike and bike over there. It's my new house is also in the Lemon Heights area, and it's not far, so I walk those hills all the time. It's really great.
We were gonna knock on your door, you know. If we couldn't find you, we're gonna knock on your door. But having 2 listings from the same renowned architect was just exciting for us at the Candidate Group.
Well, great. I'm actually happy to be talking about the houses. So the Holly Tree house that we're talking about steps down the hill, terraces you enter the living room, kitchen area, go down to the bedroom area, and go down again to the additional, there's kind of like a big game room or bonus room. I had a gym down there at the time, and another small living room kind of area. And then you step down out onto the pool, the palapa bar, and the area that's out there. So all those have decks out in front that you can go stand on, and mainly it's oriented to the view all the time.
It's view pretty much from any room in
Right,
the house.
right.
You have just an amazing view.
It's a very neat pastoral view, very green almost all the time.
It's wonderful.
Yeah, thank you. We were talking about the logs. That was
That is right.
So at the point in time that I did that, I was also doing some work in New Mexico, contemporary homes. But the thing that used all of it was the logs, peeled white pine, and the little latillas in between. And the thing with the white pine, as opposed to most of the cabins in let's say the Northwest, are those all regular pine, which gets much more golden with time. These stay white, it's a very elegant, more of a contemporary look. And so that was done throughout those ceilings. And the floors were flagstone, again, picking up that Southwest kind of design idea.
Exactly, but from a very contemporary and amazing view-oriented property.
Yeah, and I have to tell you a little story. So it's oriented to this view. I ordered glass, tinted glass, slightly tinted, for the sun. But I learned a big lesson. You don't order a piece of glass from something that's that big. Because when it came in, I walked in the day they installed it. I was up there every day during the construction. I walked in the day they installed it and I went, wow, this can't be. I mean, I just cut down because it had been open to the sun all along. The house was being built, and then they added the glass and it ruined it. I had about 20,000 glass taken out and rebuilt. 20, but my wife told me, I was all stressed. She says, that's a lot of money, but you're going to be worried about for the rest of your life, or the rest of your 10 years here.
Well, it's good
So,
you can laugh at
Yeah,
that.
I know it. At the time it wasn't laughing, but it was
Yeah.
my mistake, unfortunately. I wish I could have blamed it on the contractor. But the biggest thing to me, the center point of the house is when the front wall, which you enter, which is on one story, is what I call the public area. Because you have the driveway if someone drives up, or you have the trail behind there that people can walk in, and you can't see in the house. It's like the public view, which is it's private on the inside. To the outside, it's just a blank white wall, nice curving wall. And then as you walk through the front doors, the view just opens up to 180-degree
The world.
view to
It
the world.
opens up
Right,
to the
right.
world. It
And that was
does.
the dynamic point of the house that I was trying to create.
Okay, there's something else that I felt was very interesting, and that is every photographer missed it. And when you're at the very bottom level and you look back towards the front door, you have this wonderful, artistic looking stair. I call it the eye.
Right.
And because it kind of looks like those.
When I took photos of it, by the way, I took photos of it, entered in the San Francisco Bay Area, PCBC. Pacific
Oh yeah, of
Gold
course. I
Conference.
used to go there every day.
And that house won the
PCBC.
gold nugget.
A gold nugget?
Gold nugget for all the single family homes.
That is
great.
a gold nugget award is like the coveted, most
Yeah, it's
coveted
really
home
good.
builder award ever.
So, and the key shot is from looking down below, looking back up at that stairway.
I agree 100%,
That-
and none of the photographers
Yeah.
saw that.
And that was-
I took my iPhone and I went back at that shot, and I said, I want this shot.
Yeah.
You bring those photographers, Jason, back here and get that shot. To me, that was the shot.
Yeah, and you can, the bottom of the stairway is very sculptural the way it was built. It's all cantilevered out on one column, so it's a special stairway.
Well, I'm glad I wasn't wrong on that.
Let's see, what else can I tell you about that house?
I can tell you something else that was
Yeah.
very intriguing, and Jason really pointed it out to me. I wasn't happy with the way the front of the house looked in our photographs. And Jason said, you know, if they brought it over to this side, then you get that curved wall where the bar is on the inside, and not just the flat look. And so we now have the front of the house is over further to the driveway side.
Right, that's the
And
key,
then
yeah, that's
that's
where
the
you
key
get that
shot.
shot. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it looks gorgeous. It really does.
Well,
and
thank you.
then we have the back looking up where it's all glass, and then we have the front where it looks like a single level with the round,
Yeah.
the
yeah.
rounded, and then the curved blank front, really, and then the beautiful garage doors.
Yeah.
And you think you're in two separed houses.
Right, that's it. The front to back is totally different because of
Totally
the
different.
orientation and the privacy issues.
Right.
Yeah.
And in the view orientation,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, 100%. Good. Well, this has been such an honor to
Well, thank
meet
you.
to speak with you about these two wonderful homes that you've designed.
Well, it was enjoyable talking about it. It's been a while since I've talked about them, but
Well, I guess
remember them like it
especially
was yesterday.
Chuck Norris's house.
Yeah.
Well, according to the people who visited Chuck Norris's house, what they told me was that your daughters were cheerleaders and that used to have all the cheerleading parties for the high school there.
Well, they had a couple of them without my knowledge.
Of course they did. Well, it's been so nice
Well, thank
meeting
you, I
John.
appreciate it. Nice to meet you.
Really a
All
pleasure.
right, you're quite welcome.
Thank you.